I overheard my fiance say that her ex was the best lover she's ever had, and now I'm convinced she's only with me because he dumped her. I overheard this by complete chance. My fiance, 27F, and I, 28M, had some friends over, and as the night went on, everyone kind of split off into smaller groups. Some of us were in one room playing Texas Hold'em, and a couple of others were watching a Lord of the Rings marathon. I thought she was with the movie watchers, but she and one of her close friends were actually in the kitchen just hanging out and drinking coffee. We ran out of soda during our game, so I got up to go grab some drinks and snacks from the kitchen. As I was walking in, I heard my fiancé talking, and before I was even fully in the room, I clearly heard her say, "Jason's great and all, but he'll never be the lover Bill was." Then she went on to say, "It's not really fair to Jason, I guess, but Bill was just, like, really gifted down there." At first I thought about just walking back into the card game and pretending like we didn't have any extra soda or food, but I decided to kind of make a noise and go in. Her friend caught eye of me rounding the corner and I could see her make a face to my fiancé letting her know I was there. Of course she has no idea I heard her and she just stops talking to her and asks me how I'm doing and if I'm having fun. I was tempted to say something like I'm having as much fun as someone who is not gifted down there can, but I didn't. I just said yes and proceeded to get my stuff and go back and finish the night. I just acted like nothing was wrong the rest of the night and went to bed. Needless to say, it messed me up. I mean, messed me up bad. I've never been jealous or what you would call insecure about myself until that moment. I couldn't sleep that night and I went through a myriad of emotions while laying there. At first I was angry. Then I was humiliated. Then I was depressed. Then I was angry again. Look, I realized that the male ego seems stupid to women and even guys who are totally self-assured. I would have agreed with most of this prior to that night, but once it has been damaged, it is a beach. I tried to hide any form of emotion about it or ever let her know, but as the days went on I just kept getting worse and worse. I was avoiding her at all costs, and while she was suspicious she didn't really say anything. That is until she attempted to be intimate with me a few days later and I flat out rejected her. It wasn't by a conscious decision on my part, by the way. I had made the decision on my own to just try and get over it and move on. But in the moment, instead of being aroused, I felt deeply inadequate and ashamed. Nothing was happening no matter how much either of us tried. She asked me what was wrong and I just told her I must have been stressed from work, but she would not believe that or let it go. So much to my humiliation, there I laid, naked in bed, unable to get hard. I came clean and told her what I heard. Well, this did not go over well at all. At first she tried to tell me I did not hear her correctly, but I just repeated to her verbatim what she had told her friend. Well, once she couldn't deny it, she then tried to apologize, and to her credit she tried to listen to my feelings on the matter. Which once again I am sure was more of a big turnoff for her because I was a wreck emotionally. She tried to tell me how much of a better person I was and how I satisfied her and she wanted nobody else. But all I could hear was Charlie Brown's teacher noise. It's been almost a month and I have zero desire to be with her intimately. None. She is now getting frustrated about this as well, but no matter what I have tried I just cannot get past this. It's not like she said we were both good lovers or anything like that. She clearly said he was far superior, and my guess is that being gifted down there means he was significantly larger than me as well. Well, I know I can do all kinds of things with my hands, tongue and whatever else. But no matter what I do I can't grow in size. Obviously she refuses to talk about that with me, saying that no matter what she says it will only make things worse, because even if she says something positive about me I won't believe her. She's most likely right. Some backstory here. He dumped her. It was not a mutual breakup. He flat out dumped her and broke her heart. I know this because early on in our relationship she told me this. She said she wasn't ready to be serious about anybody because her previous ex left her and emotionally broke her. So this is not a case of me even being able to say, well, she's with me because she wants to be. If he hadn't dumped her she would never have left him. Now I have no idea if after all of these years she would leave me for him if he would come back, but I don't think she would. I just don't know what to do here. I can feel myself checking out of the relationship. I know this is petty as shit, but hearing the person you love tell someone else they prefer to be intimate with someone else is just devastating to me. Her telling me all of my other good qualities has only made it worse because she is saying things that I think appeal to her and maybe other women, but being told I am a good provider and will make a great husband makes me feel like crap. Like what would happen if I lost my good paying job, or better yet, what if I were to get injured and couldn't make anything more than state assistance? Would she be there to support and help me? Basically what I feel like right now is a really good friend who she just allowed to be intimate with. I know in my head that this is not correct, but in my heart that is what I feel. I'm sorry for the length here and I don't even know what I am asking here. I am totally lost, and if this continues I just think I'm going to break our engagement off. Edit. There are issues I want out there because there are a couple of things that are being said that are not accurate. 1. She was to use the Barney Gumble phrase using sweet drunk talk. In other words, her and her friend were drunk while talking. Nope, neither of us drink. We don't even have it in the house. 2. That I am upset, she told her friend. Well, this is an odd thing. Before I posted this, honestly I wasn't that upset about this part. I was then and am still far more upset that this is how she feels. However, now reading a lot of the post I have become somewhat aggravated that she did share this with her friend. I would never say anything about her to anyone that would put her in a lesser light. 3. That I am an insecure man-child who should just man up and learn to do better. Well, I'm certain the first part is true, being insecure and all. But the last part is just out of my control. No matter what I do, I will only ever be 7 inches long. We have talked about this BTW, when she was trying to build me up. She said that I was already great with everything but the one thing I can't control. Okay, so I gave myself about a ½ inch to feel better. 4. No, I'm not going to do anything rash. It's already been a month, so it's not like this happened last week. But yes, I have to decide what I'm going to do here before long. It's not fair to either of us as I am just coasting through this and no longer committed. 5. She is sorry that I heard it. She said she is sorry she said it, but at the end of the day she would not be sorry if I didn't catch her saying it. It is what it is. But yes, I do believe she is regretting it because she has basically been a mess since I first told her. Me not wanting to be with her is bothering her a lot according to her. I don't know how much of that I believe, but right now I guess I don't know why she would lie. It really has wrecked hell on our Christmas spirit this year, I know that. Edit number 2. Engineer, for those who keep asking what I do for a living. She is a paralegal. Edit number 3. People have been asking about the relationship with the ex and how I know she was heartbroken. We met about 9 months after they separated. I know that ultimately he wanted to be with someone else, although she has claimed he never cheated. He just ended things so he could be with another woman. She approached me at a local workshop and we started dating. On our 4th date, when things started to get physical, she broke down crying about the ex. It was certainly weird to hold someone while they cried about someone else, but I did it. We sporadically dated for a couple more months, in which time I never tried to cross any boundaries physically because it was obvious she wasn't over him, so while we just went out on dates, I tried to keep myself of the mind that we were just friends because I didn't want to commit either. After close to 2 months, she drags me from my car to her apartment and begins to tell me how much she has appreciated my patience with her and how she felt stupid about dragging me along for so long. Obviously, that was our first night together. Within 3 months of that, she is telling me that she loves me. So yes, she was still hung up on her ex for fact when we got together. I had thought and hoped she was over him before this happened. Update: 1 week later, it all came to a head last night. She just came out and asked me if I did not love her anymore, and all that I could tell her was that a very large part of me still did, but that what she said had really made it so that another part of me just didn't anymore. This started a larger conversation that I won't bore you with, but ultimately it came down to me saying that I would have heard that he was just better at something or more attentive to something or was able to do something that I would have felt like I could have worked on it. I would have listened to anything she wanted worked on, any technique or anything else that she would have shared with me. But to know that I was never going to measure up simply because of a physical issue was not something I thought I could get over any time soon, or if I ever could for that matter. I was even honest and said that if it was just a one-night stand she had or some random guy who was just huge, I might be able to get past that. But knowing that it was a guy who she was still madly in love with when I met her, and only after time did she ever start to come around, then it was just more than I could handle. She kept trying to tell me how much better I was at everything else and that I should not throw away a lifetime over one aspect. I told her that that one aspect sadly was just a high for me. Not all things are equal, and that honestly it is a mental failing on my part that it is, but whether it is genetics or a learned trait or whatever, that yes, I needed to be my spouse's best, and she has already made it clear that I can never be. I tried my best to be gentle. I tried to take all of the blame of stating that I knew that my attitude was probably not healthy, but it was who I am. By the way, I'm typing this as though this were a clean conversation. It wasn't. There was lots of crying, by both of us. This is not a happy ending or even a satisfying one. I am beyond messed up in the head over the entire situation. Everybody's Christmas is ruined. We had big family gatherings that we both were attending together, and now we have to somehow break it to our families what has happened. This alone is causing me massive stress because my parents loved her, and what in the heck am I going to say is the reason why we are not together? She didn't cheat, and if I say that I felt like she was still hung up on her ex, she will obviously deny it and she will tell them the truth. It's messed up no matter how this goes down. In the end, I feel like a massive failure. I feel like a failure as a man because of not living up to comparison, and I feel like a failure because I wasn't able to just man up and either get over it. She has begged me to go to couples counseling, and initially I said no because at the end of the day, what does it change? We can talk about every single thing and I can try and look at things from a different way, and at the end of the day, the woman who I wanted to marry just told one of our friends that no matter what I do, I will never be as good as her ex. I just cannot see 5 years from now ever being okay with this. But because she legitimately seems heartbroken, I agreed to go. But that does not mean I will keep going. Today I moved out a lot of my stuff and am staying with a co-worker for a few days until I can get a place for myself. She has been with her sister all day. I feel like crap. Thank you to everyone who took the time to type out a response. I honestly have tried to read everything, even if I didn't reply to very many. The beach of all of this is that I still love her. There is so much of me right now that wants to pick up the phone and call her and beg her to come back. Edit: well, once again I posted this and then went away for a while. I guess I do want to share one thing I spoke with her about. When we were having our very long conversation, I presented her with a scenario for her to compare. I know her well enough to know that comparing body parts or intimate prowess isn't going to impact her the same way it would me. So I put the scenario to her like this. I said, what if you walked in and overheard me talking with my friend Tim and you heard this? Jill is great, but she will never understand me and comfort me the way Tiffany did. But it's not Jill's fault. Tiffany is just the smartest, most compassionate person I've ever known, and Jill just isn't as smart. Then if she would confront me about saying those things about her, that my response to her would have been, I love you for all of your other qualities. Nobody makes a sandwich like you do, and I think long term you won't gauge me for my money. At first she tried to say that this was a totally different issue, but once we talked more about it, she finally agreed it is because of the way we both approach and value lovemaking. She ultimately admitted that this would really hurt her feelings, but she would not break up with me over it. I then responded that even in my make-believe scenario, which by the way I would never say to anyone out loud about anyone I loved, she could improve her level of education and learn to be more compassionate. Edit number 2. If anyone even reads this, I want to add one last thing. People have been telling me what a whiny bitch I am. That's one of the more kind things they've said, because I can't get over someone else in the world having a bigger schlong than me. Not going to lie and say I'm thrilled with it, but I'm not dumb enough to think I have a giant magic wand or anything. I had grown up believing what I now know to be a lie, that women don't care about size. Some don't, but obviously some do, and my ex is one of those that obviously did. But even with that, ultimately I might have been able to get over it if it was just said as a matter of fact. But hearing that no matter what I did, how much I loved her or any other thing, that I was never going to be as good, is what has bothered me since. Yes, size is obviously a big part of it, but if I hadn't heard that I would never be the lover, I think I might have been okay. Well, not okay, but at least not relationship killing. Yes, I overvalue lovemaking. I get that. Yes, it is very important to me, and well, frankly, I want to be wanted as much as I want to want someone, if that makes any sense. Yes, I know whoever I date in the future will most likely have had someone who is either bigger, better, or whatever. But I would really hope that they would not be still hung up on it a few years later. Final update, 2 months later. I wasn't going to post anymore, but I am still getting daily direct messages wanting to know how things are going. I do appreciate the kind words and concerns. But just so anyone who cares can know, it is over. I went to counseling with her on 3 different occasions, and honestly I tried to have an open mind about it. But at the end of the day, the obstacle was just too much to overcome. I even gave her an opportunity to walk back her statement or amend it, or well, do whatever she wanted to with it. But instead she doubled down in a way. I think by that time she was very frustrated as well. Neither of us are really happy about this. It has been an absolute nightmare for me trying to avoid telling people or family why we are no longer together. Of course I tried the old "it's none of your business" to some of them, but that failed spectacularly, and since I refused to tell, they decided she cheated on me and started spreading that around. I've had to do a lot of damage control over that. I've decided to continue with therapy on a personal level because honestly this entire thing has really messed with my head, and I have no self-esteem left at all. I've only seen her once since we separated, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. She is now, justifiably so, in the angry stage. She is furious with me and has called me everything that you can imagine, and then even made up some words.